everybody, it's that time again. It's time for Diary of a Physicist Farmgal. My name is Deborah, and I'm coming to you from here on my family farm in the foothills of the Arkansas Ozarks, where I like to do all the crafts. I knit, I crochet, I sew, I quilt, I make baskets, I make jewelry, I do needlework. I'll try any craft once and twice if I like it. I also do a lot of crafting with a capital C, but today's video is about crafting with a lowercase c. And you may hear some noise from the other room because young Master Pickle, Sir Pickle the Brave, the kitten who showed up at my house about a month ago, is locked out because he is a menace and he is not happy about that. But at any rate, I can see a paw sticking under the floor, a murder mitten sticking under the door right now, wishing that he were in here. But anyway, I am also a professor of physics and astronomy at a local university where I teach courses to physics majors. I teach support courses. I'm a docent at our planetarium, and I also am very active in initiatives on campus about diversity and inclusion in all things higher ed, which is a dangerous area to be in right now in my state. Yeah, well, you know. Didn't like her when she was press secretary. Don't like her as governor, but what can you do? Anyway, but, you know, $19,500 podiums are a thing, apparently. Anyway, if you don't know what that is, just look up Podium Gate and you'll find it out. Anyway, I am also a farmer. I am a third-plus generation family farmer here on this land that my family has lived on for over a century. I raise grass-fed beef cattle. I have horses. I have no longer do I have heritage poultry or rabbits. I have let that go for right now. Maybe someday I'll pick that back up again. But I do have a retirement herd of miniature horses, miniature donkeys, a miniature mule named Pumpkin who thinks she rules the roost, and Princess Penny, the potbelly pig, who is no longer the protector of the poultry, but she is enjoying her retirement quite luxuriously in both her summer home and her winter home. She has multiple huts that she can get in, and I call one of them the summer house because she tends to get in it in the summer. Yeah, so I also will bring up topics that are going on in the world if I feel like I know enough to address them, and from a generally liberal or left-leaning perspective. This is not necessarily a kid-friendly podcast because I do swear from time to time, so just be aware of that. So, if any of all of that sounds interesting to you, I hope you'll come along and join me on Diary of a Physicist Farmgal. If you're looking for us on social media, I am on both Ravelry and on Instagram as Doc Firewoman. I am also on TikTok as Doc Firewoman. You can find me there. I make videos, but I will warn you, my videos on there are very witchy focused, and that may not be your bag. So, but I mean, everything I post is kind of that way. So if you're still hanging out, you know this about me. Anyway, so also there is a Ravelry group, which I have not been particularly active in, but I have started getting back on Ravelry in about the last month. I have found my fiber crafting mojo again, and, oh, and I do have some cross stitch to show too for the first time in a very long time. So I am back on Ravelry a little bit. There is a Facebook group for the podcast, Diary of a Physicist Farmgal. You can also find my farm Facebook page at Buckthorn Farms, and I have a new oddities and bone magic business where I post a lot of witchy things that I make and my crafting with a capital C stuff. It's called Stories of the Bones, and it is also on Facebook, and you can find me there. So, yeah, I don't have a giveaway this time. I'm just not organized to do giveaways right now, and I apologize for that. We do, I guess, have some make-alongs going on that I have been largely ignoring, but we do have a couple of make-alongs. The Amigurumi Smackdown is still going on, and you know, get up in there if you feel like it. And we have the All the Smogs Cowl going on, which is the African flower projects. And we have the Year of the Bat, the Big Ass Project. Now, my Big Ass Project has exactly 2 rows on it. I did a provisional cast on, and I did the first row, and I haven't touched it since then, and that's the Adventurous by Joji Locatelli. But I have promised myself that and my Pandemic Cross Stitch by Long Dog Samplers will get picked back up before the end of the year. So we'll see how that goes. But the year of the BAP is going to roll on, I think. Anyway, I will... Oh, pardon me just a second. If you're wondering what got bleeped out there, Willie was doing something he shouldn't have been doing. He is not equipped to do the thing that he was trying to do either anymore. So Prince Willie was feeling his Cheerios this morning, and Rhea was not appreciating his attentions. But anyway, I am in my bedroom today, and because I felt like recording in here. So yeah, but anyway, so what I was going to say is keep an eye out, because next year I plan on doing a hat knit along. So if you've been wanting to make some hats, hats are fun because they're quick. They use up those skeins that we buy and we like, but we don't really know what to do with them. There's a lot of variety in hats. They make great gifts. And a good friend of mine has a really cute hat pattern that I will be sharing as we get closer to time. So yeah, so I do have some finished objects to show you, so let's go on and talk about that. Okay, so I do have some finished objects to share with you today. The first things that I will show you are a couple of hats that I made for my friend Stacy. She is getting ready to potentially undergo chemotherapy and asked me if I would make her a hat, and of course I wanted to make her more than one, so I made her two. This first one is called the Divine Hat. This is a crocheted hat. The pattern, I believe, is available free on Ravelry. I will link it down below if you're interested. I'm going to do better about doing my links too. I haven't done a good job on those, I realize, but I'm going to try to do better. Promises, right? But at any rate, so this is the Divine Hat. It is crochet. This one is in some commercial yarn from a big box store that I won't talk about because I don't like them or their politics, but it was yarn that I had, and I figured, let me crochet a hat for my witchy friend. That's a good way. We'll sage it, or not sage it. I don't use sage, but we'll cleanse it and we'll send that off. But it is a very beautiful hat. I love the design on it, and I think I'm actually going to make one for myself. So this is crocheted, so it does use up a lot of yarn. It used most of a skein of the yarn that I had. But I think it's super cute. It fits really well. I like how it fits on. I made these ribbing rows a little bit longer because I like my ribbing to come down a little bit more. Then Jessica sent me a huge box of yarn for the second portion of my prize from the Color Your Stash. So I also made her, this is like Bernat Blanket, but I don't know that it was Bernat Blanket because it was in a cake. So I don't know what it was, but it's this beautiful, warm, super soft, blankety yarn. And I made this slouchy fit hat out of it because it was so soft. And blue is the color of the colon cancer ribbon. So I wanted to make her this hat as well. Plus, it's just so soft and squishy. Maybe when it's all over, she can just sew it up and have a little soft pillow to lay on. So, she has a good prognosis, but we're going to say, you know, to Stacy, we wish you a speedy and complete recovery, and I can't wait to see you again in July next year at Mystic South and also online. So anyway, so there's the two hats, and she's seen pictures of both of them, so these are not any big secret. Okay, I have a very big FO here, and that is, make sure I got it facing the right way around here. Yes, this is my Saturday morning sweater. Okay, this is a pattern by Dragon Horde Yarn. It is a big, flumpy, cuddly, cozy, oversized sweater. This is knit in Red Heart with Love. I haven't even taken the stitch markers out or woven in the ends yet. But this is knit in Red Heart with Love because this is going to be my flopping around on the farm sweater is what I'm calling it, because it is something I can throw in the washing machine if I want to. It is not made out of super precious yarn. One thing that I do need to get better at is doing short rows, I've noticed, because I don't like my short rows look a little bit sloppy on the back here. But this is my first attempt at that, and I'm very happy with how this turned out. It is very oversized, and that is fine with me. So, yes, I also call this my candy corn sweater. It kind of looks like candy corn. But yeah, so got that finished. Yay, completely done. I took this on the girls' trip that we took out to Oklahoma to the Great Salt Plains, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the farm life and blathering section. But took it with me and got the sleeve finished, except for the ribbing because I didn't have the right needles. So I came home and I finished the ribbing the next day. So it is we're going to call that a finish. I need to take out my stitch markers and weave in the ends and all that good stuff, but that is done. Then I do have one more finish here, and that is I finished my popcorn and toast socks. So these are my popcorn and toast socks. I did not bring my sock blockers in here to show you what they look like, but this is a pattern by Vanessa from Crafty Planty Life. And I believe it's available for free on Ravelry, and it's a reference to the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving show where they had popcorn and toast for their Thanksgiving dinner. And I think they had jelly beans were in there somewhere too. Except this heel is from a different pattern. This is vanilla sock with choice of heel because it has instructions for toe up, heel flap, and gusset. And I wanted to try a heel flap and gusset out just to see if I like the fit better than like an afterthought heel or a German short row heel. So now I have a nice little science experiment that I can do when I start wearing these hand knit socks to see which one fits the best. I also call these my zebra with a sunburn socks because there's a joke that you used to get in the joke books when you were a kid about what is black and white and red all over. And it's supposed to be a newspaper or a zebra with a sunburn. So I call these my zebra with the sunburn socks. These are knit out of Regia yarn. It is not one of their perfect pair or whatever it's called yarns that I think Shirley gave me this yarn. But anyway, so it has this funky black and white stripe in it, and so yay. And then my little donut here is from Charmed and Dangerous because you know I love her stuff. So those are my finished objects that I have to share with you. So we'll go on and talk about works in progress. Okay, so for works in progress, I have a few things that I've been working on. The first thing that I'll show you is my knitted cowl. This is the Show Off Chevron cowl. It is a free pattern from Darn Knit Anyway, so by Amy Pelletier. And it is really good for self-striping yarn. So I think I've got about 6 more repeats to do, 4 row repeats to do, and then I'll be ready to bind this off and seam it up. So the last time you saw this, it was down here, and I have knit this much on it. So I am getting really close to being done with this. It is knit in String Theory Color Works sport weight yarn. Her sport weight base I think is called Orbit, and this colorway is called Penumbra. And I'm going to have enough yarn left over, I think, that I can knit me a pair of socks as well out of this yarn. So I've still got, like I said, I've got about 6 repeats to do, so about 24 rows left, but they're only 60 stitch rows, so that I could probably finish this today if I wanted to work on it. And I need to go outside and do my chores, and I need to sweep the floors, but I've done the rest of my house cleaning. The kitchen is clean, the dishes are done. The laundry is all put away magically. That's amazing because that's my big Achilles heel. I don't like to, I'll wash it all day long, but putting it away, ugh, I'm not so good at that. But anyway, so that is in a bag that Junie Sews, or Magic Junie Sews, was my bag swap partner a couple years ago, and she made me this beautiful bag as part of my bag swap. Okay, then my next work in progress is almost finished. I've got to I'll show you why it's not completely finished. This is the Irish-ish lace cowl by, I think it's Simply Crochet. I took the pattern out. I don't know what I did with it. The cowl is finished, and all the little doodads to put on it are finished, which there's roses and leaves that go on it, but I don't want to sew those on until I block this cowl out and kind of even out this mesh. So I just started this on a whim the other day. This was a skein of, we think we concluded, Jessica gave it to me, that it's Brava Sport Weight yarn. I think the pattern actually calls for DK, but I liked the color, so this is what it got made out of. So I need to block this, And then after you block it, I took some scrap yarn that I had and crocheted. The pattern shows the leaves and the roses in the same color as the cowl, but I ran out of yarn. I literally finished the last stitch on this and was out of yarn. So I crocheted my flowers out of this pinkish color that I'm using on a sweater, and I crocheted the green out of some green that I used for a hat, or the leaves, and you sew these on. So I think those will be really pretty against this. I want to block this first before I sew these on. So I'm going to do that today. I've got this pair of socks I just showed you are in there soaking right now, and then this will be the next thing that goes in there. My little weather narwhal was a gift made by Noelle from Charmed and Dangerous, but it was a gift from Penny, and it was a custom little weather narwhal that they made for me for my birthday, which was super sweet. So then, let's see, my next work in progress is in this bag. This was made by Agatha, a Magpie Knits. And this is the Celtic Years Shawl Club from like 2018, 2019. The pattern is The Woods Are Lovely. And this was knit for that. This pattern was written for that club, but I believe it's available now to everybody. I'm sure it is. And this is Woolly Wonka Sock Company, which I think is now called something else also. And they're Nimaway sock base, and the color is called Minerva. And it's showing up a lot more, well, it's a lot more tealy green than foresty green. It's kind of showing up foresty green there. But I also took this with me on my trip to Oklahoma, and when you saw it before, it was way down here by this stitch marker. So I actually completed the first section, and now I'm on the second section of the shawl, and it is wadded the snot up because it was in my bag. But what it's supposed to be is these are supposed to represent, this is supposed to be after the Robert Frost poem, Walking in the Woods on a Snowy Evening, I think is Robert Frost. Is that right? Am I lying about that? Probably lying about that. But at any rate, there's snowflakes. There's two snowflake sections, then there's a fir tree section, then there's a fir cone section. So I'm working on the second snowflake section now. So, and then that will be, yeah, that'll be a nice, I want to try to finish that by Yule of this year, but considering that's about a month away, I don't know that I'm going to make it. But I'll try. I'll try. I'm going to finish this cowl first, and then I'll come back to this. Okay, so let me put those back in the bag. And that's not in its bag. Excuse me a minute. Let me put these patterns back before I'm very disorganized. So, what else is new? Then my last big fiber whip is here, and it is my Unbearable Unhoodie. So I think the last time you guys saw it, I had finished the color work, because that's where my little marker, well, it was down in here. I had almost finished the color work, or I had finished the color work. The color work is done. I have separated for the sleeves, and now on the body, I am just above my navel. So I'm speeding along on the body. This is my meeting knitting project because it goes very fast. This is being knit in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and this is a pattern by Max Sear, or Max the Knitter. It's supposed to be a hoodie. I didn't want a hoodie, so it is just going to be a regular pullover sweater, jumper type sweater. So yay, and I'm pretty proud. You can tell those are bears, so I'm pretty proud of that. Bears and flowers and hats and good stuff. So yay, so those are my fibery whips. I do have one cross stitch whip that I will share with you. This is the Black Phillip pattern. I think it's called Wouldst Thou Like to Live Deliciously, but I call it the Black Phillip pattern by the Witchy Stitcher. And I am stitching this for my tattoo artist. So I have been working on this for a while, but as you can see, I have gotten to the words, and now I'm almost done with the words. And then I just repeat this band in reverse down here. There's a few little differences in the bottom band than the top in terms of the color use, but it's basically just a mirror image on the bottom. And then this is in that blood spatter fabric. I should know who did this, but I bought it from Fire Poppies. I'm sure all the cross stitch people are screaming at me right now going, it's blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, I don't remember. But I got it from Fire Poppies when they were still in business. And then I'm just stitching it with just regular DMC, except I'm using a the sparkly DMC. What's it called? Can't call it to mind. It's not Light Effects. It's the other one. It's not as much of a pain in the butt to stitch with. Can't think of it right now, but that's what I'm using for the red. So there's a little bit of sparkle in there too. So then I got to figure out how I'm going to finish it. I'm not quite sure. I wanted to frame it in a cool looking frame, but we'll see what I feel like. Because I would like to be able to give it to her reasonably soon. But I have an appointment in December 7th, which is now less than a month away. And I don't think I'm going to have it done by then. But we'll see. Anyway, so that is in a bag I got from my local stitching store, a Stitcher's Garden. There's another project in here as well. That's why it's so bulky. Anyway, so those are my works in progress. I do have a few future crafting ideas that I'll share with you. And so we'll be back and talk about that. Okay, so for future crafting, I do have a few future crafting ideas that I want to do. First off, I do want to knit another pair of socks because I'm trying to get better at knitting socks. And I do, you know, I'm getting to where I reasonably well enjoy knitting them. So when I first started knitting seriously again, I joined the Knitting Expats Sock Club. And this was the Wanderlust Sock Club. And I think this is the last one that I have need to knit out of that series of patterns. And it's called the Cottywomple socks. So there they are. And this was a sock club that I think was from like 2018, 2019 that I joined. And Jessica, in her box, she sent me a great deal of Felice. So Knit Picks Felice. And, oh, I forgot to mention my bear sweater is knit in Wool of the Andes. But y'all know that by now. But anyway, this is the one that fell out of the box when I was trying to pack everything away. So this is the one that's going to get used. So Knit Picks Felice, this is Mountain Mist, is the colorway. And so that's what I think that's appropriate to knit my Cottywomple socks. The Cottywomple means to travel purposefully to an unknown destination. So, and one of my favorite male romance books is called Cottywomple, which is it was a really sweet book. Anyway, so there's that. Then I have a set of mini skeins that Kirsty gave me. They gave it to me for my birthday one year. I believe they hand dyed them, and they're a pink gradient. And I was just looking around at free patterns the other night and found this really beautiful shawl. This is a free pattern, the Casco Bay shawl, and it is meant to be used with mini skeins. So I thought that would be a really pretty shawl to knit with that gradient set that they gave me as a gift. Either they gave it to me or maybe Vanessa gave it to me. I can't remember. But at any rate, I've got two mini sets and they're both pinks. I think Kirsty gave me one and Vanessa gave me the other one. So one of the two of those is going to get turned into this Casco Bay shawl. Then I am going to make Joel a shawl because I was showing him all my shawls the other day and he was very interested in them. Bless his heart. I kind of like, here, I'm showing you all these now. So I want to make him a shawl and I have a couple of different options, but I think the one that I'm either going to make him the Dragon Shawl by Alexandra Mickelborg, which used to be Two Hearts Crochet, and then it was Yarn Geek, I think was what they changed their name to. Or I'm going to do the Star Shower by Romy Hill. So this is crochet, this is knit. Don't know which one I'm going to do yet. I'm going to look at my yarn and see what I have. So one of the two of those, I think. I would like to try to get it made by Christmas. If I'm going to get it made by Christmas, it's probably going to have to be this one. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Then I do know for sure that I want to knit myself another sweater. Shirley graciously gave me a bunch of yarn when she was passing through as she was moving. And one of the yarn sets that she gave me would work perfectly for this sweater. Now, this is a sweater modeled after one in the Netflix movie called Don't Look Up, which some people watched and thought was ridiculous, and some people thought, went, oh, that's great irony. Oh, my goodness, that's so spot on. I'm in the second camp. But, you know, that shouldn't surprise anybody that knows me. But anyway, I believe this is now a free pattern by Dear Ingenue on Ravelry. It was published in 2021. And I think that's a beautiful, and it is chunky weight yarn. So this is going to be super warm, but also should knit up fairly quickly. So I think I'm going to knit that for myself next after I give my Adventurous some love. Then last but not least, Jessica gave me this beautiful yarn, and I think we decided that this was Red Heart Boutique Treasure, maybe? I don't remember. We looked it up last night, but it's a Red Heart yarn. And I just love the colors in that. And I've got 2 skeins of it. So I've got 580 yards basically of it. And I found a crocheted shawl that I want to make out of it, because it's really nice and soft. So I think I need a nice crocheted shawl to kind of cleanse my palette after doing all this knitting. So those are my future plans. And we'll move on now and talk just a little bit about acquisitions. Okay, so I have acquisitions that I could share that I'm not going to, because I'm going to save those for a crafting with a capital C video. I think what I'm actually going to do is do a deck tour of all my tarot and oracle decks, kind of like I went through my crystal collection, which now has grown, so I may have to make another video of that before too long. But I wanted to share with you some things. Like I mentioned, Penny sent me this beautiful gift, which I don't have the things out now, but it had my little narwhal in it. It had some beautiful crocheted earrings that I get compliments on every time I wear. And then Nancy sent me a gift the other day that had some stickers and some lip balm and these 2 beautiful English paper pieced pin cushions in them. And she knows I love bright colors, so she kindly sent me these. Then the other thing that I will share with you is I picked up some books recently that I have been reading that I wanted to share with you. The first one was my Tea and Tarot group out of Little Rock that I go to read this book. It's called A Lullaby for Witches. It's an interesting read. It's a fictional book. It was an interesting read. I kind of took a little issue with how they portrayed the woman who was the witch in here, but it's a good read. So, and I read it quickly. So it's a nice, relaxing read. I will say that. And if you like a little bit of suspense in your book, this is a good book. Then my friend Melissa recommended, because I'm trying to have more empathy for people who trigger me. And I don't mean trigger me because they're transphobic or racist or homophobic, but for other reasons within the communities that I'm in. And she recommended that I read this book, Braving the Wilderness by Brene Brown. This book's been out for a while. This is not new. It's been out for a little while, but she recommended it to me, and I have been reading it. I read it, it was 2017 is when it came out, so it's been out for a while, but it's about the quest for belonging and how we create intentional community, and how we first find belonging within ourselves. And I think that's one thing where I feel when I get triggered, it's because I have abandonment issues, and I feel like that maybe these people are threatening my place in someone's life or in a community, and I get triggered by that, and I'm afraid of being left behind by friends or whatnot. So I think that she recommended this. And then my therapist actually recommended this book to me. This is about living with people who have a certain mental health situation called borderline personality disorder, and I happen to have someone in my circle who I want to be able to be a better friend to them and not always be reacting. And so I'm trying to understand how to interact with them in a more healthy way. So my therapist recommended this book, Stop Walking on Eggshells. This is not to diagnose this person. This book is not meant to diagnose. It's not meant to repair them. It's not meant to fix them, whatever. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just understand that a lot of what I'm confronted with when I interact with this person is not about me. It's about how they look at the world. And so I can be less reactive and more proactive in our friendship. So this was that book. Then I picked up a couple of books. I got a Amazon gift card for doing a book review, and I had some things in my cart that were just kind of fun things that I wanted to read. And so I decided to get this book, which is, if you follow any kind of social media, you remember the man who was running on a very long race. It was like a 400+ mile race in South America. And this dog started following him. And it followed him through the whole race. And so he took him home. He named him Arthur. He lived in Sweden. And this is a story about that dog, which I followed that story online for a long time. And of course, Arthur has now passed away, but I love that book. So, or I loved that story, so I got this book. So, yeah. And then I've been very interested in style. So this is one crafting with a capital C thing that I will share. I recently picked up this book, which is a way to do divination with stones, but not like marks on the stones, just the stones themselves and their positioning. So I need to dig into this. I saw a class about this at Mystic South, and I got kind of interested, and then I did a little bit of reading about it online, and then I decided to pick this book up as well. So those are my acquisitions. So that is all the crafty content that I have for you today. We're going to move on and talk a little bit about campus stuff and farm life. So what's going on campus is, of course, everybody's gearing up for the eclipse. We got the eclipse coming up next year in April. And I've been doing a lot of presentations surrounding the eclipse. So that's been interesting and fun. I haven't been doing planetarium shows this semester because my teaching schedule wouldn't allow it. But I'm hoping to be able to do those in the springtime. And I didn't do any book groups or anything. I had kind of stepped way back this semester to kind of reevaluate the direction that I wanted to go. And I've had some pretty hard conversations with my immediate supervisors about what do I want to do with the rest of my career. And I don't know that I know the answer to that right now. I've stepped back from doing research with students because I've had 2 and 3 and 4 research students every semester since I've been there, and I kind of wanted to pass some along to some of the younger faculty. So I don't know. That's an interesting question of what I want to, what do I want my legacy to be? I'm still very involved with the Teaching for Excellence, Center for Excellence in Teaching and Academic Leadership, but the Teaching Excellence Institute. I will always support that and want to be involved with that. But I've stepped back from my role in a lot of other things because I just want time to do the things that I want to do. So that's kind of what's going on. I mean, I don't have a lot to say about what's going on campus, so I'll kind of give you a little bit of a fill in on other things. So as y'all know, probably, I have been traveling a little bit with Joel to some events when there's double booked weekends and he needs someone to go with him to shows because they have to cover 2 shows in a weekend. I have been enjoying getting to go with him to those. That's been a lot of fun. It has stimulated me to start making my own metaphysical art, and that's where the Stories of the Bones project is coming from. He and I have worked on some bone pieces together, and he said, you should really do this, start your own little side business for this. You would be really good at it. So I'm slowly starting to put that out there. I don't think I'm going to vend much, but I'll probably try to vend at a couple of events. I went to an oddities expo with my friend Ruby and got some interesting ideas, and also saw that what I make is just as good as what was out there. So I'm going to think about doing that. Also, I have decided to step up in the community more as a leader in the community, as an elder in the community, and teach more. And offer more classes. So I think I am going to offer my weather class online. So if you're interested in doing that, I'll do a separate video about that probably here in a week or so. Then the other thing that I think I'm going to do this year is I'm going to invite people to engage with me during the Omen Days and have like a monthly meeting about Omen Days divination. So I'm probably going to do a video about that. So keep your eye out for a couple of little short videos about both of those things. I have a release date for my book. It is April 2024. I don't know the day yet, but that is the month. It is currently available on Llewellyn.com for pre-order. So if you're interested in that, I can put a link down below. If you're not, that's okay too. It's not for everybody. So I mentioned that I had COVID. Everybody, all my little circle had COVID. So we watched The Lord of the Rings. That's what we did. We watched The Lord of the Rings. And yeah, so that's kind of been what's going on there. We did a Day of the Dead observance with my friends out of the Tea and Tarot group out of Little Rock, and that was very beautiful, and I'm glad that we did. We did it at a historical cemetery in Little Rock called Mount Holly, and there are a lot of notable, famous Arkansans buried at Mount Holly. It's kind of like the place where famous Arkansans tend to end up, you know, people that have a lot of ties to the history of the development of the state. My friend Kathy and I had gone down there to a tour that was done by the Parkview Theater Company, which is a high school. It's a magnet school for the arts and sciences, and they have a really great theater program, and they do Tales from the Crypt is what they call it, and they pick out different stations around the cemetery, and they have actors. And I actually have some video clips from that, so what I'll probably do at the end is put in a few of the video clips from the tour that we did, which was really fun and cool. Went to see Highline with Joel. I got tickets to see Highline in St. Louis, and we had a beautiful time. We went up. It was kind of, he called it the weekend in the middle of the week, because we went up on Wednesday and came back Thursday night. And we went to a butterfly house, and we rode on a vintage carousel, and it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. So yeah, Enchanted is coming up next weekend, so I've got to get my talk and stuff ready for that. I'm doing 2 talks at Enchanted. And then, yeah, so that's kind of been what's going on. So, yeah, so we'll talk about farm life. Okay, so what's going on here on the farm? A couple of things. I still don't have gas hooked up. We're going on 7 months, but we're getting very close. Supposedly a week from tomorrow, they're going to come set a propane tank. But I'm not holding my breath, because every step of the way of this process has been nothing but fraught with problems. And so I am not holding my breath that that's going to happen anytime soon, but we'll hope for the best. But be that as it may, my second problem, well, 3 problems. My second problem is I have 2 heifers that are running loose, and I can't catch them. I had sold one of them to a lady. She let her get out of the trailer, scared the heifer really badly, and now she's off on her own. I'd sold her mother earlier this year, and when I cut my herd down, and now she's just on her own. She's not interested in my herd of cattle anymore. She wants nothing to do with them. And because she's young and small, she just lets herself out wherever she feels like. And so, and Ray just opened the door so all the dogs and cats could come in. So it's a party. Anyway, so she's taken one of the other little heifers with her, and they are now over at my neighbor's. And I can't get anywhere around them. And I don't know what to do. The first thing that aggravated me was when they were getting out and I didn't know it, instead of coming up to the house and telling me, the local goody two-shoes busybodies decided to post it all over Facebook and dog me for not having good fences. And I'm like, you think you can catch them and do better? Go after it. So literally, instead of coming up to the house and telling me they were out, they decided just to be snarky and hateful. yay for community spirit. But anyway, I can't catch them. I don't know what we're going to do. I mean, they see people now and they run. So I'm very annoyed about this, because if I had known that the lady that I sold them to didn't know anything about cattle, I would have been over there. But I had COVID during the time she wanted to come get them. So I went over there sick and got them up. And then they wanted to come really late in the evening and get them, and I just couldn't. I wasn't able to get out of bed, and so it was just a mess. And I should have known better. I should have not trusted them, but this is what happens. Just like the gas line situation, I was minding my own business, sitting at my kitchen table, eating a sandwich, getting ready to go to a friend's birthday party, when these people intentionally cut my gas line. And nothing has happened to them because they have friends in the local sheriff's office. So, you know, I've been very frustrated with all this situation. So I try not to think about it too much, because it's really upsetting to me. But I don't know what to do about the calves. I don't. I mean, I told my neighbor, I said, well, maybe we can put up a panel pen and put a feed trough inside there. But they don't really know what feed is, because they were too young. So they didn't really know what feed is, so I don't know that they'll even go in there. And now the dog wants out, so excuse me. Okay, sorry if that sounds kind of crabby, but I'm incredibly frustrated with this situation. And now Willie wants back in. I love my animals, I do, but there are days that they drive me. It's like running a daycare. It really is. Excuse me. I don't ever get to come home and just go sit down. That never happens. But that's okay. I chose this life, and that's totally fine. But anyway, the last thing that's bothering me is I tried to hire a farm sitter, because I took some trips with Joel, and I showed her what the job was. She agreed right away that she would do it. I come back from the first trip, and she's done all of this extra house cleaning that I did not ask her to do. And I said, okay. And she said, well, you know, you need some more air purifiers. You need to do something, because it's just overwhelming. So I bought more air purifiers that I couldn't really afford, but I put them down. And I told her, I showed her what I'd done. I said, well, we can try this and we can try this. She said, okay. So we did have a couple of big trips. Like, I had one day where I was gone for 4 days. I was gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. To a big craft fair. And then, or no, I was gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Excuse me. It was not Thursday. I was gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then the next weekend I was gone Saturday and Sunday. And then I went to a concert where we were gone overnight. And that was all within the space of like 3 weeks. Now, I paid her, and I paid her extra. But she was doing all this extra cleaning, and I wasn't asking her to do that. I basically said, just please make sure you come and let the dogs out to go to the bathroom, feed, and make sure everybody's got feed and water. And what she was doing is she was coming at 6 o'clock at night and then not coming back until like 1 or 2 in the afternoon the next day. And so there were accidents to clean up. And you can't, when you have, I mean, I just had the little dogs in, but when you leave dogs up for 18 hours, they can't hold it that long. And so she said some very unkind things to me, and said it was too much work, and that it wasn't worth her time, and it was too my house was too triggering, and she didn't like how I was doing things, and just said a bunch of very unkind things to me. And it sent me in a kind of a little bit of a spiral. The lady that recommended her reached out to me and said, well, you know, she's young and she has these issues and it has nothing to do. I said, I know, but she's not that young. She's in her 40s. She's not that young. And I tried to help her find community here. I tried to reach out and be a friend to her, and she just basically spit on me. So I have been dealing with the fallout from that. I think I have got the situation sorted out for the short term. I've got what I'm going to do is, instead of having one person do it, I'm going to have people on rotating shifts. I'm going to try that and see if that works. Because basically, now that I don't have rabbits and chickens, the feeding outside is pretty minimal. It's basically a scoop of feed to the pig, a scoop of feed to the ponies, and that's it. And then inside, all she needed to do was, I free feed my dry kibble. So just fill up the bowls and then clean up the accidents. I didn't ask her to sweep. I didn't ask her to mop. I didn't ask her to do any of that stuff. I didn't ask her to change the litter boxes, you know, because I was gone to maybe 3 days. So I just scooped them before I left, and I scoop them when I get back. But she was making this big deal about doing all this stuff, and I'm like, I didn't ask you to do that. Anyway, that's kind of knocked me for a loop in terms of my mental health, to be quite honest, because if y'all have been around for a while, you know that this house is one of my triggers, and the state of this house. Fortunately, I have a very sweet and loving and considerate boyfriend, and we had a long talk about it, because what I was thinking is he didn't want to be here either, and he's like, no, that's not true. In fact, he likes coming over here, and he likes to come over here in the afternoon and take a nap. You know, so he wouldn't feel like doing that if he didn't want to be here. So anyway, yeah, so I'm going to work on trying to get my property enrolled in the Acres for Wildlife program to try to do some land management now that I only have about 10 head of cattle. I've got Gusty and Angel up right now feeding them a little extra because they've dropped some weight, and that's concerning me a little bit. So I've got them up feeding them. In fact, I've got to go do that when I'm done recording here. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I think I am going to do Holo-Vlog this year. So you'll get to see some farm stuff. Right now I'm having trouble with my tractor. I'd had a hydraulic cylinder go out, and now I think one of the seals on my wheels has gone out because my power steering fluid is draining out. So I've got to have somebody look at that. It's always something, y'all. It's always something on this farm, I'm telling you. It never stops. Anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. So yeah, that's what's going on the farm. So I'll come back and give you a few final thoughts. Okay, so I've got to go out and do some chores, like I said, and I also want to catch up my stash on Ravelry with all this beautiful yarn that Jessica and Shirley gave me. I haven't documented any of that, so I need to catch all of that up, but that's going to be a long project, I think, so I may do it. Oh, y'all don't fight. Don't fight. Look here. Come here, sir. Sir Pickle the Brave. Why don't you just come right here and let everybody see you and leave Fizzy alone, okay? So that's what my plan for the rest of the day is. I do need to sweep. I've done all my housework except sweep the floors, and with the sun coming into the southern windows, you can see that I need to sweep. So that is one thing that I'm going to do. But I wanted to share this poem with you from the Wild Matryoshka. She's on Facebook. I follow their page, and I wanted to read this for you because it really stuck out to me, especially with everything going on in the world right now. I think that we need to remember that we are all human beings. All of us are connected, and the idea that the people over there are less than or deserve less than because they're over there is wrong and short-sighted. So, okay, I had to start that again because the dog started barking about something. So this is a poem, like I said, from the Wild Matryoshka on Facebook called Being Human. Being human means you can choose to love or hate. Being human means you might be conditioned to love or hate. Being human means sometimes you will have to work hard not to hate and to uncondition certain patterns of thinking or beliefs. Being human means you might be wrong, and being human means you can change your thoughts. Being human means you are becoming more and more. There is a lot to see, to understand, to learn, to feel, and to unlearn. Being human means having awareness and striving to become more aware. Being human, I hit my space bar too much. Being human can look like many things. Being human can have many phases. Being human can seem like a foreign country depending on what side you gaze at it from. Being human can have multiple truths, identities, and stories. Being human can appear insane, lost, and inhuman. And being human can be a long, slow journey of finding. Being human is not always a picnic or a walk in a park. It is sometimes shattered and broken. Being human is sometimes about being forgotten, about forgetting, but it's also about being remembered and remembering. there are so many colors to being human. A spectrum of possibility, a spectrum of imprisonment and freedom. It's a strange republic, this being human. Today, as you step into your humanity again, how can you step deeper and higher, wider and more full into being human? If you were to shine your light on one aspect of your humanity, what would it be? If you were to hold a seed in your hand or in your pocket for our collective humanity, what would it be? And I think that's a good thing to ponder on in these times right now. So, I hope you are all taking care of yourselves. I am glad to be back with some crafting, and I hope you enjoyed seeing what I've been working on. And this little monster here, this is Sir Pickles the Brave. Because he is definitely fearless. But anyway, I hope y'all are all doing well. And until I see y'all again, y'all be good to each other and take care of each other. And Willie's back here on a pillow, and Pickles is right here, and Baxter has run for safety from Pickles into the other room. So until I see y'all again, be good to each other and take care of each other. Peace out, y'all. Bye.
Visitors. It feels like it's been decades. My name is Frances Edmonson Ullman. It's a pleasure to meet you. You know, I grew up not far from here downtown. I lived with my family, but my sister Elizabeth was the one that I was the closest to. We were so close, we even managed to have a double wedding.
And although I was originally brought up to study my father's profession of civil engineering, I found I was also blessed with a strong flair for finance. So
I know you won't remember how many children we have.
oh, don't be silly. It's 5, right?
9.
After
Glad you're here to help them too, Mom. You really are the gift that keeps on giving.
What are you doing out here?
I just came to get some fresh air.
That's lovely.